here we go. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Legend Known Classics. This is episode number 3111 and Doubleshot number 3005. Now, we got some Hulk stuff and X Factor stuff to talk about here. Basically, we're doing one shot, a trade for She-Hulk, and we're also talking about the X Factor trade, which is over here, David. First up we have is Hulk Raging Thunder, a one-shot release in 2008. Yes, the cover gave Thundera, she's a character created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, a six-pack. Yep, the story is called Unbeatable, written by Jeff Parker, artwork by Mitch Brewster. Starts out basically with this, look like in the Middle East. Actually, in the past, so apparently, like, we have stuff on here. It's like, and then we have Thundera show up here because she's from a world where women are on top and men are basically slaves. Yep. And then basically we have a fight between men and women. Hulk fighting some military people. And then, well, then we have Thundera celebrating like she won because apparently her and women are conquering the world. Yep. And then she races out to go meet up with the Hulk, where she proceeds to kick him in the face. Who dares? Thundera dares a woman. Yeah, my trick. No woman's like, yeah, I'm all woman. And kicks him. Army's wrong. He's like, and of course, basically, like, just punches him, and of course, like, oh, she's in this distress here, and of course, Hulk is pulled out by. Then, of course, Hulk is pulled up by Thundera. It's like, oh, now you help pretend to help. Another trick. No tricks. Like, I know I cannot beat you. Who are you? Why are you so strong? I am Thundera, the leader of my people. For my place, women are much stronger. No man is worthy of me. I have come to find such a man. Hulk is no man. If you're from here, you would know. Hulk is a monster. That makes better. And then she proceeds to kiss him. Yes, she kisses him. And then she leaves. And somehow, some way, this makeout kiss took some saliva and got her pregnant. I am not kidding. And as a result, of course, we have a little flashback with Bruce Banner, and then the book ends with the debut of Lydra, Hulk's daughter. His third offspring at this point in time. Yes. And last one. That's pretty much her debut appearance. And thinking, wait, this sounds familiar. An Offspring of the Hulk debut at the end of of an issue. Yeah, this has happened once before with Scar, where he debuted in World War Hulk number 5. Excuse me. Yeah, interesting one shot. I like the Thundera stuff. We don't get a lot of focus on her. In case you're curious, though, what did she do for the next, I don't know, like 17 years? Not a lot. Yeah, not a lot of stuff. Once she reunited with the Thing, she mostly has been she's a character for us very sporadically over the years. But I give Hulk Raging Thunder a 9 out of 10. Next up we have is Dark Reign. Oh, new Savage She-Hulk. And this is by Fred Van Lin. Not Jeff Parker, Fred Van Lin. Where pretty much basically we have the organization Armor. That's pretty much basically who Lyra works for later on. That basically she comes to Earth. Yeah, she comes to Earth this issue wearing an outfit exactly like her awesome mom. Or I could say her hot mom because Thundera's hot. And she beats a bunch of guys because she's so strong. Takes out a gun, shoots him. Then he goes to a place where, and of course, you have a flashback to Raging Thunder. You have a flashback to it, which, by the way, the Savage She-Hulk trade that collects the miniseries does not collect that one shot. Don't know why, it just does. All it does is collect the 4-issue miniseries as this one, plus a short story from Hulk Green Jeans. I'm going to talk about all the stories in that one. So, to see all this stuff, and of course, going to. If I can get this movie here, thank you. Yes. So, yeah, going into this car and fighting a bunch of women. Like you. Yeah, and of course, she kind of like holds him, and of course, basically, he kind of runs away, and of course, then we see Norman Osborn in the book. You're thinking, why the heck is Osborn here? Because, of course, it's Dark Reign. This is when he's leader of the Dark Avengers, and he's here with Dotkin and Matt Gargan, who are here posing as Venom and Wolverine. Actually, this is not Venom. He's calling himself Spider-Man. Yeah, and of course, then Jim Walter shows up at the end of the issue. Oh yeah, there's also I have like a recap of this stuff, and then move on to issue number 2 of this book, where we have original She-Hulk versus second She-Hulk. Basically, Lara versus, well, technically in a way she's fighting her basically her cousin, because yeah, and of course, like New York Revenge, so basically she's fighting them, and of course Ares pops up here, because of course he would, and they proceed to fight each other the whole issue. There's even a flashback of basically where she's in her own Earth, and she's informed by her awesome father, the Hulk. And then we see Jocasta make an appearance. Yes, Jocasta's appearance is very random, where she just happened to appear here. And then she's attacked by... I kid you not. Then she's attacked from behind, but looks like to be Laura. Yeah, then she continues fighting She-Hulk. Like, mother, who are you? And then the Sentry shows up, who smacks away She-Hulk. And then issue 2 ends with the Dark Avengers showing up, and of course you have Norman Osborn in his Iron Patriot gear. And then for some reason they throw in, basically these issues also have reprint issues of She-Hulk, well, Sensational She-Hulk by John Byrne. Yep. Yeah, and then pretty much in the very next issue,
today we're going to show you some ways.
Alright, here we go. So, yeah, so after fighting Captain Marvel, then she fights pretty much the new Avenger, the Dark Avengers. Well, then she fights them, and actually it's not Laura. Then we see the Carla Soft Miss Marvel, who every time I see her in this Marvel costume, I'm like, yeah, this is the same woman Victoria Hand wanted to sleep with. I am not joking about that. That is how the Dark Rangers file was written. It's like, oh yeah, because Victoria Hand's a lesbian, so let's basically have her basically where she was lusting after Carol Softon. That's all she was written in the book. It's not like in the main issues themselves, Victoria Hand very rarely interacted with her. And of course, Lara punches basically another woman, and we have stuff with this other person here. Then we have her be held hostage by Hammer. And then She-Hulk comes in, basically free her. Then, of course, she frees herself. And then proceeds to make out with the guy, because he's very strong. And then we have a backup story of her on her Earth fighting, well, and of course another reference here to Raging Thunder. We have her fighting more guys here. This actually is an original backup story, not a reprint. And then move on to the final issue of this miniseries.
Hi, ladies.
Yep, so yeah. And she's like, you gotta buy me dinner first. No. Like, apparently, like, yeah, kissing him is like, no, it's not Norman. It's some. Actually, I think it's Norman. It looks like she kissed Norman, like some other guy. Oh, by the way, the artist decided to give her a 6-pack. Yeah, it's just me, or is that the artist of Marvel? Like, anybody knows this, they love giving women 6-packs. Yeah, like Basically, her mom had a six-pack too. Did she inherit this from her awesome mom? And then you have the Dark Avengers assembling to fight Lyra. At one point, she takes a spear and basically stabs Doc and pins him to a wall. Then fights Bullseye Hawkeye. Yes. And basically kicks back Gargan. And just slaps him. Apparently, the Symbiont decided to basically move his face. Yes. And Japisa hit him, and of course, then she's fighting her, and then, about to lose, and of course, basically, Sentry's having a tough time fighting the She-Hulk. Yep. And then they get teleported away to some other place here. And of course, also, I think at the end of this miniseries, she's joining Armor. Yeah, she becomes Agent Armor, and this leads into her time in the Incredible Hulk book. We have a backup story featuring, I kid you not, we have a Scorpion issue. This, of course, is featuring female Scorpion, the daughter of a AIM scientist, Manga Bellucci. That's her name. That's not Manga Bellucci. That's a different. That's an actress. Yeah. Who, get this? Did you know that her mom actually once had a one-night stand with Bruce Banner? No, I'm not kidding about it. This happened. This was revealed in the end of the Hulk issues of Time to House of M. So you have Matt Gargan Venom fighting female Scorpion. Yeah, and this is the first and only time these two ever interacted. Yes. With the fighting him, he proceeds to run away and never to be seen from again fighting his character. And moving on to Hulk Green Jeans. By the way, I give that miniseries 9 out of 10. It was excellent. Next we have is Hulk Family. Hulk Family Green Jeans. Where you have, look at the cover, we have Scorpion, Jen Walters, Lyra, Scar, and the Hulk. Yep, so the opening story looks like it's in the Nevada desert and features somebody in a hospital bed, and it's a Jen Walters story where this is presumably set when Hulk was stationed in Vegas. She's looking as sexy as ever in that dress. Oh my gosh, this artist did a really good job drawing her. And then we see Joe Fixit. You're like, what? And of course, basically the whole thing is, well, I'm trying to remember he actually is the Hulk, but she doesn't think he is, but he actually is. And there's a fight in the casino. Of course, he's the bouncer of this casino. Yes, because he works for a gangster. And fights this other person. And yeah, and it's called Your Lucky Day. And the story is written by Fred Van Lin, artwork is by Scott Clark. The second story is a Scar story called School of Savage, written by Greg Pak. This is mostly put to Scar finding out about his past, history of the planet itself. Oh yeah, then we have the Daughter of the Hulk story, which they have in here for some reason. It's reprinted here. Then we have another female Scorpion story here. And we're written by Fred Van Lin, art by Derek Clark, where it's basically just her fighting some S.H.I.E.L.D. thugs. Well, fighting people from S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, fighting people from S.H.I.E.L.D. And then, of course, fighting her mom, who's part of AIM. And then she opens this casket to reveal, there's a head inside. And she's crying. Who the person is, I don't know. In case you're curious, though, where did this one make her debut appearance? In Amazing Fantasy Volume 2, I believe was issue number 7. Yeah, she plays a Ren in the title. But this book is excellent. Yes, I'm going to give this one-shot a 9 out of 10. Now, I should point out also that after this, there was 2 more She-Hulk mini-series released after this. One was A Time to Wolver Hulk, which I have reviewed, and the other is She-Hulk's, which I'll review at another time. And then after that, nothing for She-Hulk until the ongoing series for She-Hulk released in 2015, actually 2014, which lasted for approximately 12 issues written by Charles Shaw, which was a way for him to go and write Daredevil after that. Yep, but yeah, got one more She-Hulk miniseries to go, and then that's it for She-Hulk. Then of course the She-Hulk ongoing. Next up we have is X Factor Happenings in Vegas, which collects issues 207 to 212. Written by Peter David. I'm also going to talk about I actually forgot to talk about this in another previous video a while back. I forgot to talk about Nation X X Factor. Let's talk about that first. This is mostly put also by Peter David as well, because of course it's drawn by Valentine Leo. It is mostly put just after the events of Utopia. We have a flashback to like a camp in black and white, and then we have the X-Men Utopia, and then X Factor shows up. Now, basically, they're here. It's me. Yeah, they're pretty much here because, well, Cyclops by all means live in Utopia, and basically, at one point you have Shatterstar meeting Northstar, but then his jealous boyfriend, yes. No, and of course, basically, they have a conversation. Of course, they're reunited with Lyra. Of course, the thing is, Cyclops hasn't seen Lyra since Messiah Complex at this point in time, when this one shot came out. Mm-hmm. And mostly put is basically like, you have Shatterstar kissing a blonde woman. Oh, it's actually it's Boom Boom. Yeah, kissing Boom Boom, and of course running to Surge and Rockslide. We have Rockslide having a little fight, skirmish with Strong Guy. It's basically the cast of X-Men interacting with the cast of X Factor. And then of course Mandrix is like, new recruits, welcome to our brotherhood. You got any drink? Absolutely. Thank God. Yes. It's so funny having men just react to seeing Magneto part of the X-Men. And then you have Charles Xavier talking to Darwin, who, as part of their retcon, this guy joined the X-Men before the lineup we saw in Giant Size X-Men #1, whereas him, Vulcan, and a bunch of other characters all died in the issue, and then they were brought back for Krakoa. Yeah, basically all the people who died, yeah, they all were brought back, and Darwin was like the only survivor. And Darwin is not a Peter Davison creation; he is a creation of Ed Brubaker. And then we have this really cool shot here of Longshot, Monette, and Banshee. We have basically look like Dazzler and Moonstar here. It's just basically a little fun little issue. Eventually, he is offered a chance to stay here, and then of course they say no, and then they leave. Yep, that's really all it is here. The book ends with looks like Dazzler spending the night with Longshot, because he decided to stay behind and do that for reasons. And then we come back to, by the way, I give that one shot a 9 out of 10. But as for the main book, Happenings in Vegas, where we start off with Lost Souls, where we have this beautiful woman wearing green walk into the office of Jay Mandrix, and Longshot is here to do a Pacific, case, whatever. Hello, I'm Longshot. No one cares. Yep. Yeah, and pretty much basically she's here to look after somebody, because basically it's a PI book. And of course they try to figure out what it is, and of course Monet gets knocked out by this other guy here who apparently died. Sucked the energy out of it, and of course then the power starts fading from him. Actually it's Baron Mordo! Yes, Baron Mordo is briefly brought back here. Of course Monet knocked that pillow. Which, thank God someone's not there a pillow next to you, just crush your head on the floor. And we see Richter and Shatterstar at a shooting range. And making out because Peter David gay. Yeah, and you have stuff with Banshee in the bar. She also proceeds to rip the little thing off, basically. Oh yeah, and also the thing wearing about this guy around his neck. Turns out this guy is actually Pip the Troll. Yes, Pip the Troll. And then we have this weird scene here where it looks like Richter and Sheriff are just probably either they're starting to have sex or they're about to have sex, and then the issue ends with Wolfsbane showing up pregnant from the pages of X-Force. Yes, because after that incarnation of X was expanded, she moved over to X Factor, where she remained for pretty much the rest of this run. For the next almost 50 issues, she's basically in this book for the next few years. You would think few years, but not really. It's more like 2 or 3 years, because the book itself is publishing twice a month. Then we have Monica getting into a fight with Lyra. And of course, basically, Wolfsbane blames Shatterstar for turning her boyfriend gay. By the way, it is asked like if he's the one turning gay. Peter David did for some reason, not sure why. Then we have Pip the Troll, brings my Mandrake, and he ends up basically joining them. And it turns the person who actually helped save, and then of course basically after they set up the whole thing with the fact that Wolfsbane is pregnant, she'll be pregnant for a long period of time, for the next 20 or so issues, until she gives birth. And she rejects her child. I am not kidding about that. She rejects her child and gets raised by a wearer by night. And that's a quick little two-parter. Of course, we have Hela. Basically, they decide to, after 2 issues of this, they decided to go to Las Vegas. Las Vegas! Yep. So, yeah, we actually have X Factor going to Las Vegas to deal with some stuff. But, yeah, it's a fun idea to have these guys go to Vegas. Viva Las Vegas! Viva! And, of course, you have the party here where they're on the Las Vegas Strip. Yeah, and then we have the fact that Richter and Shatterstar have to share a room with Wolfsbane. And Richter thinks it's his child. It's not. You want to know who the father of Wolfsbane's child is? It's a wolf guy that she met who was, I think he was the son of the wolf Barris that she slept with. And that's how she got pregnant. You have Longshot because he has lucky powers. He could basically, when gambling. Yeah, and then we have a shocking appearances issue. Everyone's like partying, everyone's winning. Then we have this bulking guy fighting, and then of course we have a guy show up here wearing armor, whacking him. And we have this look like a zombie. Yes, a zombie. By the way, Wolfsbane being in this book, when she leaves book, it's actually during the book's final story arc is when last time she appears in this book. She's not in the final issue. She actually leaves just prior to the final issue. And then we have stuff with, well, we have Richter hanging out with Wolfsbane. Yeah. Everybody's just kind of enjoying. Of course, some people are in Vegas. Some people are basically still back in New York, doing whatever they want. Yep. We see a guy get killed in a grave. Moving on to issue 211, which we have a shocking character appear at the end of this issue. Oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, after the long shot taking on a freaking zombie, a zombie warrior, and of course Shatterstar comes in to help out. Pip the Troll is being tortured by Hela, the beautiful Hela, which oh my gosh, the artist made her sexy as hell. Oh my gosh, she's so hot. Called Staying in Vegas. Yep, fighting a zombie. Yep, another warrior. They're like, yeah, we're gonna continue fighting them. And then freaking Thor shows up at the end of the year. She's like, Thor? What the heck is Thor doing here? Now, in case you're curious, though, had Peter David ever wrote Thor before in a comic book? The answer is, off the top of my head, no. He's never written Thor before, even after this. So the next issue has a cover image of yeah, we have just Thor on the cover. Yep, which is also the cover of the trade paperback. You look this up. Yep, So basically, Thor leaves to Hela because all they want is Pip the Troll. Yeah, and then of course Thor throws his hammer at Hela. Yeah, and a little fun fact: Thor slept with her in the Ultimate Universe. Yes, where she's like 7 feet tall. And they had a kid together, and then then gets rid of that sexy dress and goes to her regular Jack Kirby look. And fights X Factor. And then we have this guy show up here. Who is this guy? Oh yeah, they reveal when this guy rips apart her cloak, her body is decaying. The opponent takes her position as the Lord of Death. And then the issue ends with apparently Darwin is acting a bit unusual. They say goodbye to Thor, and that's the storyline there. Excellent issues. Fantastic. Give it a 10 out of 10. Yep. So, with this basically, how many more issues have to go? Well, the book ends with 262, obviously. Yep. So, overall, there is exactly about 38 issues left to go for this book. Yep, 38. That's how much I left to go. We still got a while to go for this book, so there's that. So that's pretty much that particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do this. But I'm gonna do one more comic corner here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and rest my voice for a bit, and then basically come back to do more comic corners. Okay, thanks you. Bye.